Hello, this is Dr. Scott Denstead, founder of EZWxBrief, your best online source for aviation weather and education. In this video, I'm going to explain how to use the EZDeparture Advisor. Now, first of all, you'll find the EZDeparture Advisor on the EZMap display as well as the EZRoute profile. The EZDeparture Advisor acts as a time slider as well as an evaluation of your personal weather minimums that you've previously set. Remember, we set those in the user settings. You can get that from the cogwheel or the settings button. And then you set your personal weather minimums based on your specific risk tolerance. And after those are set and saved, essentially EZWxBrief will look along your route of flight and it will evaluate all these various different parameters that you set up in your EZ settings. Now, first of all, when the slider is all the way to the left, any of these stations that you see on the map are the latest surface observations for that particular airport. You may also see other observations such as pilot weather reports. In this case, here is an urgent pilot weather report. In addition, you'll see various advisories such as GRMETs, SIGMETs, convective outlooks, center weather advisories. All of those may show up as well as a layer on the map. As you slide the time to the right, what you'll notice is that all the surface or observational data will go away, and you'll start to see other advisories added based on that particular time of departure and valid time. In this case, we'll see a convective outlook here on the right show up, and then the updates to the various GRMETs show up as well. But pilot weather reports were taken off the map because they're valid only in the past. And lastly, all of the stations are now showing the EZ forecast, valid at that particular time for that airport. Now you can control what layers you have on the map by clicking on the layer button. And for instance, let's say I wanted to see the forecast for the surface visibility. By clicking on that, that gives me the surface visibility forecast valid at that particular time and location. Now, the EZDeparture Advisor is set up like a grid. Each column represents a different time of departure. And as you slide it to the right, the time moves into the future. Each row represents a different personal weather minimum category. And they're set up by phase of flight. The first three are your departure personal weather minimums for ceiling height, surface visibility, and crosswinds. The next ones are for your en route phase, so en route ceiling height, en route visibility, en route icing probability, en route icing intensity, and en route turbulence intensity, as well as en route convective potential. Lastly, you'll see your destination personal weather minimums for ceiling height, surface visibility, and crosswinds. Now you can quickly see that in this particular case, it appears we have the first 5 are green, so they meet all our personal weather minimums, with the conservative element that says this is a low risk flight for that particular personal weather minimum. Anytime you see red, that means it has bust through our personal weather minimums for that particular category. In this case, it's our en route icing probability, which is now greater than 30% based on this evaluation, with a departure time, in this case of 4Z. Same thing with en route icing intensity. Turbulence, on the other hand, is a yellow, so that means that the EDR value is somewhere between 15 and 30 along your route of flight. That's not below your personal weather minimum. However, it's in that moderate risk area. And then you can walk through each time to see how it changes, or you can actually then move the departure advisor to the right and see it from there as well. Now, if you want to, for instance, change your personal weather minimums, you can easily do that. And let's change the en route icing probability. Let's push it up much higher, near 50. So we say basically anytime we see a 50% or greater chance of icing en route at the altitude we provided for our route, that's going to trigger EZWxBrief and the EZDeparture advisor to show red. Let's move the green all the way over to, let's say, 30, which means that as long as the en route icing probability is 30 or less along our entire route at the altitude we have indicated, that will show up as green. We may have a certified ice protection system, and therefore we can accept higher risk. So once that's done, when you click on Save Settings, it will reevaluate every single possible departure time for those particular changes. And you'll notice that we did get some changes here. If we go back to, for instance, a departure at 4Z, you'll notice because our en route icing probability personal minimums now were changed to 30 and 50, this evaluated as a yellow instead. The last thing that you'll notice is some gray circles here in the EZDeparture advisor. And that means simply that we don't have information, we don't have forecast at that point for icing or turbulence beyond about 18 hours in the future. So they show up as gray to indicate that we cannot evaluate those particular personal weather minimums. And that gives you a fairly good idea of how to use the EZDeparture advisor in EZWxBrief. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the simplicity of EZWxBrief.